Hello, true duelists. My name's Craig Fee, and welcome to the New Card Report. In one of my new card reports about our new reveals from the Infinite Forbidden, I made the joke that the set was pushing the boundaries of what Yu-Gi-Oh players would consider forbidden. Because first we saw Exodia support, which is technically support for a deck most infamous for an FTK style of gameplay. And then we got Drytron support for authentic early Master Duel War flashbacks and no deck memories. And now, just to shake it up, the Infinite Forbidden continues to give us support for an FTK, because Gimmick Puppet support has come, and my god, they just want you to really hate this deck in every capacity that you can, I guess. As if branded locking you with the Gimmick Puppet cards wasn't enough, now we get this shit. So call me Mech Knight Avram and check this out, because it's Gimmick Puppet support in 2024. Up first is Gimmick Puppet Little Soldiers, a level 4 Dark Machine with 0 attack and defense that on normal or special summon can send a Gimmick Puppet from the deck to the graveyard with a different level from this, and then this will copy the sent monster's level. And if this is in the grave, it can be banished to target up to 2 Gimmick Puppet monsters on your field and increase their levels by 4. Amazing. The quality of support they needed when they debuted in like 2011 or whenever it was, and now roughly 13 years later. Win's a win, I'm told, although I don't know how much that happens when you're playing Gimmick Puppets. Boom! It's a good way to set up your grave, if nothing else, and it means that you get to have lower level puppets that can still be good, because you can bump up their levels, because Gimmick Puppet's just level 8 shenanigans. So it's just a solid card for the deck, and visually it's not a reference to the Human Centipede, so that's a big plus as far as I'm concerned. I don't care if only like 1 or 2 cards in this deck was a reference to that fucking movie, that's still like 12 references too many to that fucking movie. Gimmick Puppet Bloody Doll is what at least one UK resident has already been calling Gimmick Puppet cards, and you can't convince me otherwise. And it's also this new level 8 Dark Machine with 400 attack and 1400 defense. This one has 2 effects, and as is all too common for the deck and something we know all too well, using either of them locks you into Gimmick Puppets, at least from the extra deck. The first effect activates in the hand to reveal a Gimmick Puppet Xyz monster from your extra deck, and then summon this card from your hand and a Gimmick Puppet from your deck whose level is equal to the revealed monster's rank. And if this card is sent to the graveyard from anywhere but the hand, it'll add itself back to the hand, just to do it all again. My god, isn't that perfect? It combos so beautifully with little soldiers. Previously, you send this to the grave, the little soldier becomes 8, and then you can use this in the hand to reveal and summon, and you got 3 level 8s. A fine thing for Gimmick Puppets. That's literally perfectly fine. Nothing could ever go wrong in consideration to this. What did Gimmick Puppets even have before? I think it's just these 3. It's like a weird alt win condition. There's the string tokens, but really it's just a 3k beater, and the like pop and burn card that was actually the only remotely viable one. So anything to just cheat those out is perfectly fine, right? Nothing can go wrong here. Surely nothing, because now we've got Gimmick Puppet Cattle Scream, which is both the name of this new card and actually an apt description for the sound I will make if any of you plays this against me. A level 8 Dark Machine with 2000 attack and defense, this one can summon itself from your hand or graveyard by detaching an Xyz material from one of your monsters, but it'll be banished when it leaves the field. And while it is a material on a Gimmick Puppet Xyz, that Xyz monster will gain the effect to target a monster in the opponent's graveyard and summon it out to their field. Again, for the state of Gimmick Puppet in 2023, it's fine. It's not as good as the previous 2, but it's certainly decent and better than most everything else that they have. You've got another self-summoning level 8, and between normal summoning Little Soldier and maybe sending this, or sending Bloody Doll and then summoning this off of Bloody Doll, there's plenty of means to make 2 rank 8s with the greatest of ease. But unfortunately, it's now 2024, and these cards can now make some new rank 8 Xyz monsters, such as Gimmick Puppet Fantastics Machina, or Machina, I don't care. A rank 8 Dark Machine with 1500 attack and 3100 defense, and only needing 2 level 8s to summon it out. The first effect will let you detach a material to search any rank up magic spell card, and doing so also lets you normal summon a machine type monster in addition to your normal summoner set for this turn, so free extension. The second effect activates while it's in the graveyard, allowing you to special summon this card from the grave to either player's field if a Gimmick Puppet Xyz monster is special summoned. And if you do this, you will also be able to get a rank up magic spell card back from your graveyard into your hand. Now, if this doesn't immediately seem bad to you, that's because you've been fortunate enough to not have to play against rank up magic spell card decks, because with the exception of, and no, probably even including Raid Raptor, but Raid Raptor to a much lesser scale, anytime a rank up card is good in the meta, it's awful. It's just summoning out stop playing, you don't get to play type cards. So having it be so easily accessible is nothing short of annoying, if not terrifying. Like, can you fuck off? This has never led to a good thing. I'm aware it can lead to cool, neat, and fun things, but there's things that can happen, and there's the things that do happen. And it always has led to bullshit in the competitive scene. Don't worry, there's already an FTK involving this thing, because that's just the state of the game, I guess. Individually, what we're looking at here is consistency, and it's consistency that's summonable from the extra deck. It's also clearly a monster that was drawn, and then they just took a PNG of an anime character's hair and threw it on top of it. And that is simply a fact. You cannot argue with me on that front. And don't worry, it's also got a big brother, because CXE's Gimmick Puppet Phantus Ex Machina is the rank up target of choice once you've searched out that spell. This rank 9 Dark Machine has 3100 attack and 1500 defense and a nice little mirror, and it can be summoned using 3 level 9 monsters, although it never ever will be. On special summon, not just Xyz, this can add a Puppet Trap card from your deck to your hand, and can detach a material to summon a monster from either player's grave onto either player's field. Its last effect is the key one, and it's a simple burn effect. If a monster is summoned to your opponent's field, you can target it, pop it, and burn for the half the original attack to the opponent. Now, by itself, that's nothing unbeatable. You're telling me I'm hyping up some big bad FTK and it's a single pop from one monster? On like the world's biggest effect veiler or imperm target you've seen today? God, Craig Fee is a damn fool, and we should beat him to death with hammers. For the clickbait. And while that is true, it's also true that we have 2 more cards to look at, and we're about to cover the one that really makes this a fucking problem. Namely, Mansion of the Underworld Dolls, the new field spell for the deck that on resolution of being activated adds any Gimmick Puppet monster from your deck to hand, and lets you detach a material from an Xyz monster to summon a Gimmick Puppet onto your opponent's field. Oh yeah, and it also will make all of your monsters on field towers. Or at least in practical terms anyways, because while this is on the field, Gimmick Puppet monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle and are unaffected by the opponent's activated effects of non-Xyz monsters. So no Ash Blossom, no Nibiru, no Effect Veiler, and no Fun. Granted, you can still say Ash Bloody Doll's hand effect, or use Ghost Bell on Cattle Scream's grave summoning effect, or that sort of thing. But those rank up searches, those burn effects on the field, they're resolving, unless you've got exactly Imperm. Which means we get to play against a burn strategy that shuts off the majority of interactions from the opponent. Thanks, Konami. Thanks. The last card that we've got is Serviced Puppet, and I believe that's the name of it. If not, it's right up there. Autocorrect changed it to Servant Puppet on my screen, and there's simply nothing that could be done to change that. This is a normal trap that targets monsters on the opponent's field up to the number of Xyz Gimmick Puppet monsters you control, and takes control of those opponent's monsters. You can just yoink like up to 3. Gimme. Mine. It also has a grave effect to banish itself from the grave, but only while you control a Gimmick Puppet Xyz monster and not on the turn that it was sent to the graveyard, to target an Xyz in either player's graveyard and summon it onto the field. Not terrible, really. If Gimmick Puppet isn't played as an FTK, you've got a searchable Change of Heart quick effect type deal going on here to use on the opponent's turn, because really, I don't know how much better removal there can be than taking it a monster from the opponent and putting it on your field. Like, that's not putting it in the grave, it's not returning it to the hand, it's not even putting it back in the deck. It's mine now. They don't get to interact with it in the same ways that they could through other means of disruption. So that's cool. And also it'll give you the means to pop an opponent's Xyz, because it's your Xyz that you gave them for damage with all your gimmicky puppets. All in all, I don't like any of this. Being real, I don't think that this is like some be-all, end-all, stupidly consistent game-destroying FTK per chance. I think it just makes Gimmick Puppet into a deck where if it opens the right cards and doesn't get immediately interrupted, you just get to sit there and watch as they FTK you. You know, you can skill open your Imperm. There are means to get away from being burned like that. It's not wholly uninteractable, it's just uninteractable with in the majority of situations. 1 copy of Terraforming and 3 copies of the Field Spell means you got a 42% chance of seeing one of them in the opening hand, if I'm not mistaken. And to be clear, it's a 1-card combo. The Field Spell will get you a combo that can deal 8,000 damage, which is just so cool. I love the idea of an FTK that's immune to hand traps and cards that are actually good against all of the other decks in the format. That's so awesome, dude. It's like a child screaming on a 10-hour flight. It's just something we really need more of. And again, DD Crow can hurt this, Imperm can hurt this, even Bestials can hurt this. Although there's the, what if they can pop and destroy your Bestial and burn you? There's consequences to Bestials in particular. DD Crow, I think, is a little bit better. Either way, it's not unbeatable, is the point I'm making. I just don't like the principle of it. But speaking not in terms of the worst way that this is going to be used, I do dig the rest of the support broadly. Like, the 3 main deck monsters can easily give you access to your extra deck, and it's crazy to think for all the summoning on the opponent's field going on, none of the new cards actually do any, like, give the opponent Nightmare Puppet to, Nightmare Lock you like branded players have been doing. So I kind of respect that. I'm sure that the deck can find a way to do that anyways, because fucking why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it be awful to play against? But it's neat to see that for all these effects that say give the opponent a monster, none of them are quick effects in these new cards, so I respect that they seemingly are aware of the Nightmare Lock. He said, tempting fate. So yeah, that's cool. I hate it. I still hate it. I don't care that you liked Zexal. I don't care that you like the character that this is based on. I didn't watch that anime, and I'm just playing the card game, and this in the card game fucking sucks. Because it doesn't suck. It's actually pretty damn good, I think. Yeah, enough of that. Time for the sponsor. Shoutouts, as always, go to the LIFD Magnetic Display, the #1 way to support my channel and the true Duelist-approved way to show off your favorite cards. As always, 15% off by using promo code YGOSTRATS, whether you type it into the description, no, I fucked that up, whether you type it into the checkout code or click the link in the description. Whoopsies. Either way, that'd be great. I'd appreciate that. And that's it. So thank you for watching. My name's Greg Feet. I will be here tomorrow for the update, as always, and if you want to catch that, please do hit subscribe. You'll be impressing that smoking Italian wife. You'll be a true duelist, and you'll see Marsh Tomp and Totally Awesome. And if you're confused as to why my Yu-Gi-Oh! Entirely focused channel has a Marsh Tomp in it so often, you're a fake duelist. The second effect activates in the graveyard, allowing you to special summon this card from the graveyard if either player is Bingus, Stingus, or Flingus.